And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. Seth Lederman, the franchise matchmaker, is on the show today, and we're talking about how people can find their ideal franchise to own. If you're someone who has an interest in looking at creating success for their life, not working for the man, and you're looking for different ideas, then Seth is the guy to talk to in this area. As I said right before the break, just 2% of the businesses in America account for over $800 billion in revenue that's generated for the U.S. alone. And that's something that you want to make sure that you take note of, because as we go forward to the next 10 to 15 years, I think this area is going to grow even faster. So I want to get into this segment, Seth, looking at what is your process for finding the best match for the people that are looking to get into franchises? What's your process?
That's a great question. So the first step of the process, number one, is to determine, is franchise ownership the right direction? Actually, is business ownership the right direction? Business ownership's not for everybody. So we determine if they have the qualities and characteristics that would be suited for business ownership. Need to have some risk tolerance, right? Then we determine, is franchise ownership, out of all the options for business ownership, startup, buying an existing business that's not a franchise, or getting into the franchise industry, does that align well with their existing skill sets, their strengths? Want to make sure that we take what they have and make that transferable to another industry possibly. Everyone thinks they know that they need to go into what they're familiar with, and we know familiarity breeds contempt. Most people I work with are in career transition. They've been in corporate maybe 20 years, they're burned out, they've accumulated enough savings, and are exploring all their options, which I think is prudent. So when I engage and work with these people and determine that franchise ownership is right for them, I really want to get clear in establishing the criteria that will be most important for them, so that I could narrow down the options out of all the franchises out there, so they're only spending time looking at franchises that would be aligned with the criteria we established as being important to them. And through the process of elimination, we get down to a final few where we can go through deeper due diligence. Right. So it's a very methodical, very streamlined, very efficient approach to narrow down your options, not get into the minutia, not get into overwhelm, which is very typical if you go out this alone without any guidance.
Oh gosh, I looked at it over the weekend. I read your book and really enjoyed it, and thought, I wonder, if they have franchises in certain areas. And so I just started looking into it, and talk about rabbit hole. Oh my gosh, down the rabbit hole in a heartbeat. I'm curious, the people that are attracted to you, what are some of the challenges that they're feeling that actually makes them want to go in this direction?
So I think people are getting to a point where they realize that there is no job security. I call it the illusion of job security. Right. And they've always had this dream of business ownership. Who hasn't? It's like writing a book. Everyone wants to write a book. Everyone thinks about business ownership, but they don't realize what's possible for themselves. There's a lot of misperceptions and false assumptions. They think franchises are over $1 million. They are only familiar with McDonald's, and that it has to be all their own money. They don't realize that there are franchises that are $300,000 that could replace their income possibly, that they could use their retirement account without any penalties or interest in the capital injection for that business, that there are organizations like the Small Business Administration that would provide up to 70, 80% of the capital for that business. So they have options that they never ever consider for themselves. They don't know what they don't know.
Right. And I know that when I was looking and reading through the book and such, and doing the research on this, I thought I was just fascinated that this is definitely a growth industry, because you look at the number of boomers that are going to retire, but they're not going to really be set for retirement, but they may be set to start a new thing. Is that who I want to look at,
The avatar?
I would say who's your ideal person?
That's a great question. I would say that age range 35 to 45 would probably be the sweet spot. I certainly have people a lot younger than that. I get some millennials that recognize early on that they better take charge of their own destiny. And I get people that are retiring, but they're not ready to retire. They want to do something. They want to keep that brain busy, but they don't want to work 80 hours a week. But most of the people I work with are coming from the corporate arena. They've done this for several decades, and they're ready for a change. They want to take charge of their own destiny. They want to make money for themselves. They want to spend more time with their family and kids. They want to leave a legacy. They want to have succession planning. They want more than they're getting from just having a job.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm curious about is a lot of people that are entrepreneurial minded, they are looking for the best route. There are options. They could create their own thing, but what's the benefit of looking at the pre-done, if I can call it, franchise?
So business in a box.
Is that what we're looking at with franchises?
With a franchise, what you're getting is a business model that's been proven, that's been duplicated and replicated several times, depending upon the tenure of the brand. And there are processes, systems, and procedures in place to run and operate that business. And there are franchise owners they can speak with that have achieved the level of success that they're looking for.
Awesome. Folks, we're here with Seth Lederman, and he is the franchise matchmaker. The clients that he's worked with have said consistently he finds the right franchise for their gifts, needs, and placement. And so with that, we've got another section coming up, and you won't want to miss it. This is the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. We'll see you.